Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Shed of Dread. Right then, let's get into this news story, which is again another reflection on how insane the world has got today. Right then, so history teacher 54 was treated like a paedophile and faced classroom ban after giving science lesson about puberty that upset children with gender dysphoria. No, with a mental illness that the school has assisted in propagating. History teacher Roy Huggins, 54, was asked to fill in for an absent colleague. He just read, all he done was he read from a textbook, a science book, yeah, about the physical changes that occur during puberty, but several pupils later lodged complaints about inappropriate comments. This is what happens when you allow people to believe anything they want to believe, and in the end, as we'll see, this poor gentleman, it's done today. So, let's just go for it any case. A senior teacher says he was treated like a paedophile and faced being banned from the profession over a science lesson about puberty that upset children with gender. No, it just upset children who know they can use gender identity issues to cause hassle, stress, and aggravation. This is just pathetic. This is what we're living in now. This is the world that we're creating, where a guy reads from a science book, a biology science book, and now, because of the world that we live in, because of the things that they gave, and the way we've let our children be brainwashed into this stupidity, he almost loses his job, and as it turns out, it's even almost something else. Roy Huggins, 54, a history teacher with more than 30 years' experience, was asked to fill in an absent colleague to teach a class of 11 and 12-year-olds. So these are 11 and 12-year-olds who are already banging on about what they call, the paper calls, gender dysphoria. No, it's just an excuse to cause trouble. He read from a national curriculum textbook about the physical changes to the bodies of boys and girls during puberty and provided some additional explanation to help the pupils understand. He believed the lesson went well. But unknown to Mr. Huggins, there were at least two pupils in the Year 7 class who were diagnosed with gender dysphoria. Bollocks. Sorry, rubbish. And several pupils later lodged complaints about inappropriate comments he made during the lesson which caused offence. And of course, we live in such a screwed up world that that's the end of his life. Because dare you say something that I don't agree with. This is why children are, and young people are the way they are, because they never get told no. They're told that they can be everything they want, they can do anything, they will always win, and then when the world comes up and bites them up in the ass, they all go, not me. Making a rod for our own back, people. This is why we say, leave our children alone. Get it, Call of Duty? Get it, Activision? Get it, everyone else? Leave our children alone. These 11 and year 7 know all about this because they're being brainwashed about this, and they're using it now they're just ruining a guy's life because he read out of a freaking biology book. Science, two genders, end of. Instead of simply discussing the problem with Mr. Huggins to avoid a repeat, the school immediately reported into the local safeguarding body which deals with allegations against adults working with children. What a tosser, whoever did that. What a complete knob. But in any case, that's because we have to bow. We're scared in case somebody does something. There's a poor bloke. Done nothing wrong. And there's the school. Knob. To his relief, Mr. Huggins was quickly cleared of any wrongdoing because he didn't do anything wrong, and he said the authority even criticised the school. Well, did they? Indeed. But not satisfied with the conclusion, the head teacher at Redford Oaks Academy in Nottinghamshire then referred Mr. Huggins to the Disclosure and Barring Service, DBS, which has the power to ban teachers from working with children. What a fucking wanker. What a complete cockhead. Really? It triggered a nightmare 2 months in which the married father of two and the grandfather became suicidal, as his reputation built up over decades as a top profession was all put at risk because of some kids who have been brainwashed and by a head teacher who's a dickhead. No wonder the flicking kids are coming out like they are. He blamed his treatment on a culture at the school for pushing a radical agenda. Well, there's a surprise. So these kids have been brainwashed by this school from the get-go, and clearly backed by the dickhead head teacher. Unbelievable. Last week we received notification from DBS that it was in the clear and there was no case to answer because there wasn't in the first place. This should never have fucking happened. But this is the world that we live in. This is what we're creating. Yeah, this is why leave our kids alone means something. You self-righteous. Ugh. Last week, he received notification from DBS that he was in the clear, there was no case answer. He decided to publicly reveal the details of his ordeal as a warning what can happen to teachers treading through today's gender identity minefield. No, it's not a minefield. Tell them piss off. This is what's going to happen. It's going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. And when these kids leave school and then go into college and then into university, if they're really lucky, and they will be brainwashed in absolutely everything. And then you wonder why society, as it is right now, if you look, we're standing at the gates of hell for things like this. Speaking from his home in South Yorkshire, Mr. Huggins said, "What happened to me is a cautionary tale of modern times how systems can be abused by people pushing an agenda." That's right. The reason you want to get rid of him is because he was wrong speaking. Yeah, 1984. Yeah, 2 + 2 = 5. He's wrong speaking. He's not doing what he's told. We have to bow down to this stupidity, bollocks. And he's absolutely right. Maybe my experience has shined light as to why quite a few people leave in the profession. Yeah, they say it's because of pay. No, it's because they're scared shitless they're going to lose their entire livelihood, career and job because two year 7 kids went, "Oh, well, I identify as a woman. That's disgusting." And then you get a dickhead head teacher who goes, "Yeah, that's right. He's wrong speaking. Destroy his life." This guy could have ended up hanging himself. He could have committed suicide over this because of the pressures that he was under. Because of that. Please tell me how this is right. And if anyone goes like Activision and, Call of Duty and anyone else who defends and says that people, "Oh, well, yeah, leave our kids alone, it's anti-gay." No, why are you after our kids then? Anyone who defends who has a go and criticises somebody for saying the words, "leave our kids alone," there's something wrong with them, and I would be extremely worried about those individuals because why do they want our kids? Because they're brainwashing them in school, as it's quite clearly here, and they're now learning that they can use that, especially if you've got an idiot in charge, to get rid of and destroy somebody who dares question them, who dares say something that they don't agree with. They are a tiny, weeny, insignificant part of the population. And the thing is that what makes it even worse is good, ordinary, gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender people who have just been accepted, get on with their lives, everybody's happy, and now getting tired of the same brush. And unfortunately, backlash and hatred are coming to these people who have done nothing wrong. And that is really, really sad. Instead of backing him, the school authorities threw me to the lions and warned in the current culture they're prepared to sacrifice people on the altar of these ideologies. This is the fucked up world that we live in, ladies and gentlemen. Really, how is this acceptable? The incident happened in late March when Mr. Huggins worked part-time as a supply teacher at school. When he walked at school, he worked out full-time during the made-up disease. During a long career as a history teacher, he's also been assistant head as educational consultant, written books and educational content about teaching. So this guy is quite clever. He's big into teaching, and then he was helping struggling pupils in a library when he was called to teach a class of 30 children who had no science teacher. The head of science told him, "Roy, you're dealing with this lesson on puberty." He said, "It's every teacher's nightmare to be stuck with something like that." And I said, "Can we change it to something else? I'm not comfortable teaching it. This is a difficult subject to teach in today's day and age. I'm a history teacher with no training in something like this." But that shouldn't matter. He's reading out of a book, a science book. Unbelievable. However, he agreed to stick to the planned lesson topic. Good lad. Did his job. He was tasked to take information from a textbook to design an information poster about the changes of boys and girls' bodies in puberty. He said, "I read from the textbook, talked about the hormonal changes that take place in the body during puberty. The textbook describes how boys develop broad shoulders and girls develop wider hips. One child said to me, 'Sir, why do women have bigger hips?' To which I replied, 'To have children.'" Oh dear Lord, how dare he! I said, "When my grandson was born last month, he fitted into the palm of my hands like this, cupping his hands together, and he was the size of a small football." I said, "During puberty, boys develop more muscles, women develop more muscles as well, but in different muscles in order to give birth. I said when my wife gave birth and my daughters gave birth, it was rather like having a poo. You say this because you're telling it, personalising it, contextualising it. Absolutely right. I mean, it's a bit more than like having a poo, but yeah, he's right. Mr. Huggins said he talks about developing body and facial hair and when the boys should start to shave. That's fair enough. He also said it was a good time for boys to work out at the gym to add muscle as they produce far more testosterone, than an old man like me. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. What I didn't know was there was children in the classroom who were diagnosed with gender dysphoria who were apparently upset with this. This I had no idea. Well, if that's true, he should have been told. But if that's just rubbish, bullshit. Sorry, absolute bullcrap. If they've been diagnosed with gender dysphoria, his school let him down by not letting him know that this has happened. So, but then the school head, who's a complete knob by the looks of it, just used it to get rid of him. Yeah, sacrificial lamb penis. In order to be referred to safeguarding, you have caused serious harm. They said I made inappropriate comments that caused offence and harm to the children. What a load of bullshit that was. Miss Huggins has never been given any details when the identity issues of the pupils involved, who was complained or told by the school why he was referred to the authorities. However, he was given feedback about the complaints from the supply agency. He was accused of saying boys must be muscly to attract girls. Boys must start at the gym at 12 to get muscly, and girls' hips allow them to bear children, something all women should do. No, for fuck's sake. But they'll take it their words. Other boys said stay away from women at the time of the month. Boys must be clean shaven and girls must shave too. You must make yourself small to attract ladies. I bet he didn't say any of that. Any of that at all. One pupil complained he was being told to draw a penis, breasts in a V shape in his teacher book. Yeah, but that's because that's fucking biology, you dickhead. Mr. Huggins said the comments were either untrue, taken out of context, or a result of misunderstanding. Well, that doesn't count anymore. Context and misunderstanding. No, that doesn't exist anymore. No. In his statement given to local authorities, stated, I feel my conscience is clear and that I have not done anything wrong. You're right. You didn't. You didn't do anything wrong at all. I am always happy to reflect and learn from my mistakes, but I'm completely lost over the allegations that have been made, and that's why they're not addressed, and why they were not addressed at the school level, as they were pretty laughable. But that's because you got a knobhead in charge. Sorry, mate. 2 days after the lesson, Mr. was phoned by a supply agency as he drove home, told there's been a complaint. For the next 2 months, the family man's life was on hold. A letter stated he faced being barred from teaching caused him to almost have a heart attack. Somebody with 30 years experience and you're just prepared to throw him under a fucking bus. Disgraceful. I was on the floor. It was the worst part that can ever happen to you as a teacher. You're being put through the same process as though you were a paedophile or hit or harmed a child. That's how serious it is, and it can destroy your reputation as well as your life. You know, I'm well done for sticking there. There was at the end of it glittering clear that could have been destroyed by these false allegations. That's it. By a school who decided to pursue this radical agenda. It utterly destroyed my confidence and left me at times feeling suicidal. Oh, would you have pat yourselves on the back if he'd have killed himself, you fucking dickheads. Thinking I've worked hard all my life, devoting myself to teaching, and he has, fair play to him. They are desperate for teachers, and they're treating someone like me like this. Why? Because you have to right speak. He was also so embarrassed about the accusation, he only told his wife Julie, a primary school teacher. Mr. Huggins said his crime was to upset some children who've got gender issues. No, they've been brainwashed by your school, clearly. He's mystified to why they complained, but believes it must be because they don't conform to genders he was discussing. No, they just know that they can call you out on that and they can destroy your career while they sit there giggling into their hands, laughing their asses off, not giving a shit about your career, your livelihood or anything else, mate. And this is the world that this is the world we're creating. Despite being cleared, he was never received an apology and must inform any school of the investigation. What the fuck? Really? So even though he's got to tell, I had a thing. Adding, I have a question mark over me now. My advice to other people going into the profession is don't teach science, don't teach puberty lessons because it's a minefield. So we won't. We'll just knock that on the head, eh? Yeah, or do we have to have one which applies to everybody? So it takes you 20 years just to get through the fucking genders that are constantly made up. For fuck's sake. He said he would continue to do occasional supply teaching, but would like to steer clear of the classroom. Included, I do not fit in with no culture. Well done. Another toot you gone. A spokesman for the Diverse Academies we trust, fucking hell, who run the school, did decline to comment. I wonder why. Diverse Academies Trust, Jesus, that's why. Fuck's sake. Redford Oaks Academy has its own inclusion policy as part of its relationships and sex education policy. It promised through a formal partnership with Stonewall. Well, there we go. Partnership with Stonewall. Well, there you go. That's why, because these fucking knobs are involved. To promote the well-being of children who identify as alphabet community and to the wider issues around gender identity. Fuck off. Two genders, end of. Sexuality is not the same. Gender. So, there you go. So, it's the Diverse Academy is a trust, and they have a formal partnership with Stonewall. No wonder this poor bastard never stood a chance. That's the world we live in. So, they're actually educating people via the Stonewall's philosophy. Jesus Christ, poor sod. How this can happen? Well, we know how it can happen because we live in such a screwed up world and this. But this is what we mean, ladies and gentlemen, when we say the words, leave our kids alone. Because you're creating this shit. I'm not saying that people are no such thing as gay people, lesbians, bisexuals, transgenders, whatever. Of course there is. But at that age, they shouldn't be doing that. It's just a phase. They're kids. This is what kids do best. And now you've given them something else where you now can just make well, I identify as a woman. And he said terrible things and I want him gone. This guy could have killed himself. He could have left his wife and his two kids with no one because of that. Any case, I'm done with that. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, please feel free to like and share. You can find me on Twitter and Facebook. Twitter's Gobby Guy and Facebook is Guy Gobby. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see some more of these videos like this on my channel, please feel free to hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to ding that magic little bell and select it to all. And with that, I'm done. And all you need to do now is, well, yeah, just get out of my shed.